Things kick off with the final boss battle, humanity's 5 heroes versus the gnarly demon emperor. In the middle of the brawl, a massive amount of power just explodes out, wiping out everything in sight. And after one last massive kaboom, the legendary fight finally reaches its epic conclusion. The monster was toast. But to pull it off, humanity's 5 heroes had to make a huge sacrifice. Once all the dust finally settles, we see the flawless knight and the iron fortress propping up the sky archer. Meanwhile, our main character tries to heal the Sage of Holy Light, who's seriously messed up, but his buddy warns him the enemy's last hit was a doozy, and she's basically unfixable. He screams for everyone to shut it and keeps desperately trying to save her, but fails. His friend then begs him to just stop, telling him not to save her anymore because she's already accepted her fate. With a peaceful smile on her face, she says she's totally satisfied with this ending as her body begins to glow. Even in victory, they recall their promise to all come back home together. But now, this was the end. Just then, our hero hears a familiar voice and wonders if that's the demon emperor. The voice confirms it is him, saying these are his final words for their incredible battle. Then bam, the Dark King's blood covers his friends, and they realize the monster totally played them. The MC's body starts to warp, and he gets that the enemy's real power was assimilation. The demon emperor then reveals he likes to call his special little ability evolution. All the while, the assimilation continues, and our hero's body starts getting swallowed up by the darkness. The voice explains that the ones who beat him are worthy of being his new vessel for his grand masterpiece. He locks onto our hero, saying he's the strongest human vessel out of everyone. Seeing his buddy getting possessed, one of the warriors just screams his name, trying to break free. He then says he'd rather fall by his friend's hand than be used by the enemy. Our protagonist's mind is a mess as a voice pleads with him to drop this idea and not take out his own ally. But the blonde knight screams for him to hurry it up. As he can't resist the assimilation, the voice inside keeps pleading, "Don't repeat the tragedy of one brother. Another one's about to go down." Blondie mocks him, asking why his sword's shaking and if his pal can't finish the job. His face all serious, our boy steels himself for the inevitable. The monster's voice booms that any resistance is totally useless, and that his right side has already been completely taken over. Hearing this, the knight gets it. Now it wasn't weakness at all, and a slight smirk plays on his lips. Then, in one quick move, the blade slices through the air, zipping towards its mark. But, plot twist, to everyone's shock, the sword runs straight through our hero's buddy's chest. And with a grin, Blondie says, only a stone-cold killer like him is truly worthy of that kind of power. Our MC calls him brother. And boom, his power awakens, a mark blazing across his face. Right after that, he yanks the sword from his pal's body as the corruption recedes from his arm. The archer, watching from afar, screams her boss's name in pure agony. She and the knight yell at him not to waste this sacrifice and to finish the job, no matter what. His eyes filled with pure resolve and rage. Our hero's face shows he's made his final decision. He then sends his other 2 comrades to the afterlife, and the number 2 appears on his face. Just then, a third mark appears, showing he's soaked up the power of all his teammates. Screaming in agony and pure rage, our hero unleashes a massive blast of pure golden energy. The baddie's voice mocks that 3 lives for power was just enough to free up his hand, but our hero claps back that, to fix this last mess, 1 single hand is all he's gonna need. He then lifts his blade to his own neck, totally shocking the monster's consciousness. At this, the entity loses it, screaming for him to stop this crazy stunt right now. His monster hand snatches the blade, and the voice warns him to quit testing its patience. Then, with just a little squeeze, the sword just shatters into a million pieces right in front of our boy. With the holy sword, Sola, totally destroyed, the monster thinks it's finally won the whole fight for good. The creature then brags that no attack on this planet can even scratch its unbeatable hide. But then, out of nowhere, the sound of something cracking echoes all around, leaving the beast all confused. Our boy asks the demon if he really thought he couldn't just end it all. And with a roar, he slams a fist into his own chest, piercing his own body with his free hand. Shocked by the kid's absolutely wild move, the monster screams his name as a massive blast just erupts. When the dust clears, we see total carnage with a nasty trail of dark energy in the sky. The baddie's spirit admits it totally underestimated him, and our protagonist wonders if this is it for him. Kneeling and all messed up, The warrior hates that he couldn't save anyone, and that not all the demons were wiped out. With a totally broken look, our young man just seems to accept his lonely fate. Just then, a giant, shadowy figure appears and says, "What a damn shame all this is." With that, the scene shifts, and we see 5 whole years have passed since the big final battle. In some dark forest, someone says it's been 5 long years since their boss just up and left them. Another voice calls him a moron and asks if he's clueless about what's going down tonight. A monster says all he knows is he had to bring 4 human girls and 1 demon to this very spot. He explains this year's memorial is to make sure the new gen never forgets their creator's sacrifice. And then, the beast announces the rituals start, saying he'll begin with the 4 human offerings. In a flash, he lunges at the girls. Seeing this, the other demons rush in to chow down on the leftovers. He then turns, saying now it's time to spill demon blood to honor their old emperor. Then we see the final offering is none other than our hero, who's hanging there, all busted up. Slowly, he opens his eyes, totally confused, wondering where he is and how he even got here. He can't figure out how he's alive. He remembers dying during that last big battle, but the bug monster kicks him, yelling at the trash to stay still. Leaving him stunned, he goes on, saying the prisoner's the weakest demon and doesn't even deserve a name. In shock, our guy wonders if he's turned into a demon, then notices his eyes are now green. The bug then says that being a sacrifice is the greatest honor he could ever have in his pathetic life. With that said, the executioner lifts his blade, getting ready to land the final blow on our hero. In one swift motion, the monster's weapon comes hurtling down at top speed at the young man. But, to the green freak's shock, its blade completely whiffs the target, and something totally wild goes down. The bug thing loses its cool, yelling at our guy to stop wiggling because he totally ruined everything. Our dude then just snaps free from the vines that held him, dropping to the ground and dodging the attack. The green monster is floored by this, wondering if the prisoner did that on purpose. With a killer glare, the MC asks if the half-demon seriously can't recognize him. Seeing those eyes, the insect starts sweating bullets, stammering, unable to get out a single word. A memory hits it like a truck, and it screams the hero's name in a complete and utter panic. It then recalls an old sea battle where it served in the massive demon army. Back then, it was just a total rookie, forced to row the boat with the other monsters. One of its superiors screamed at it to row harder because the 4 big lords were watching them all. In the year 312, the Lind clan used the sea god's power to launch a massive surprise assault. The attack was so crazy fast that only 1 human got there in time to stop the giant fleet, all alone on a small raft. That man geared up to fight an entire demon army. That man was our hero, Glan, the demon slayer of Boo City, one of humanity's absolute strongest heroes. Meanwhile, on the flip side, the Demon King was just about to give the attack order to all his troops, but the only thing the bug thing recalls from that day is that every single ally perished. The creature remembers all of its comrades getting totally wiped out in that awful fight at sea. It remembers that, except for the big boss, Lord Shu, all the other demons totally bit the dust that day. In all the destruction, multiple demon kings got wrecked, and only one of them made it out, even covered in blood. The hero's stare showed a grit, as if he were charging up his powerful aura. Amid the crazy rain and lightning, the warrior stood firm and imposing against his enemies. Back in the present, the bug monster's face is pure terror as it stares down our young guy. He then explains that, if you get the right angle, it's super easy to wreck the weak spot of crustacean demons. Our guy gets that he's been revived, but his stats have been nerfed back to level 1. Seeing this, the other demons yell to get him in charge all at once for the assault. With just a few slick moves, he claps 9 demons, and a Roman numeral pops up on his body. He scoffs that the minions were weak, only making him a tad stronger with his new ability. Another monster peeping from afar is totally shook by the power this young dude just flexed, seeing it has no shot. The freaky creature tries to book it out of there as fast as it possibly can, but our hero uses the insect's blade, pinning the nasty centipede to the ground, stopping its escape. As the monster shrieks out in agony, our boy strolls over and just snatches one of its legs in his hand. After the brawl, he goes to the girls' bodies, covering them with a cloth to give them some dignity, even with a new bod and a totally new life. His resolve as a champion for all of humanity hasn't faded. He then tries casting a healing spell to test his powers, and a green glow appears in his hand. But out of nowhere, 3 snakes erupt from his arm, and he wonders why his hand is like this, as it turns into a reptilian claw, making him scream in denial, not wanting to believe his own eyes. He looks at the body of one of the demons on the ground, and the harsh truth starts to crush his mind. In desperation, the young man collapses to his knees as sharp spikes begin to erupt from his back. He finally gets it. Now he wasn't brought back to life, but reborn into the body of a demon. With his hand covering his face, he can't accept. He's now part of the disgusting race he despises. He recalls how much he loathed this so-called inferior species. And now he's one of them. With a furious cry of rage, he yells that the only good a demon is one that's been slain by him. After his little meltdown, he calms down some, but the look on his face is still super grim. The taste in his mouth is foul. He spits on the ground. Disgusted with himself and this new body, the centipede makes a threat, saying it'll make him suffer and scream in agony, just like a weak human. He just brushes off the threats, saying he doesn't get why this all happened. But he knows the consequences. The monster's confused why the coward from earlier is acting so different, but decides to try and spook him some more. But before it can even move, our hero blitzes forward and just obliterates the centipede with one single hit. Wielding his bug blade, he brutally takes out the very last monster in this wretched place. Even as a demon, our boy decides to stick to his OG mission, wiping all of them out. With a creepy as heck grin, he's like, no complaints here, cause now he can hunt these fools from the inside. He recalls hearing that 5 whole years have passed since he bit the dust with the Demon King, so he figures, first, find a place to crash, then dig into what the heck really went down. As he makes his way up, he spies a giant troll's skull and instantly recognizes where the heck he is. He sees the demons built a whole fortress here and thinks, how convenient for them. This fortress is built on the bones of the Round Mountain Troll, a classic old rival. Pushing forward, he finds the exact cave he used to crash in, confirming his memory is on point. The spot looks secure and totally demon-free, so he decides it's a solid temp hideout to get warm and just chill for a bit. Our dude decides to get a little campfire going, chilling by the flames. He mulls over everything that's happened and how his life got flipped upside down, even in this new bod. His eyes have that same hardcore look from before his last life kicked the bucket. By the fire, he starts carving a little wooden doll to just pass the time. This sparks a memory of his old crew popping into his head. He thinks about the good old days, like that time his buddy had to wing it and gave him a legit leaf skirt. His buddies just couldn't keep it together and just lost it laughing at his new fit. Our MC was, let's just say, not thrilled with the joke and was totally not laughing. Back to the present. A huge wave of nostalgia hits him hard, and a sad vibe just takes over his face. He then finishes carving the little wooden figure of one of his old teammates, gently. He sets the figure down with the others he'd already made. All in all, he carved 5 little statues, one for each of his friends, who are now gone. Staring at them, he thinks back to that time and how different it all was. Another memory pops up, and he regrets, thinking he could have done more. With a dead serious look, he then picks up one of the little wooden statues and just eats it. Right after that, he yeets the rest of the dolls into the fire to watch them burn to ash. His friend's memories fade as the fire slowly devours the wood. Since he's a demon now, he'll use it to his advantage and crush them from the inside. All of a sudden, a splitting headache hits him, and he starts getting a memory download from this demon body. He sees the old owner was a weak, snake-blooded demon who was basically everyone's personal punching bag. In these memories, the demon was just a servant over on Round Mountain, and our MC wonders if he was a farmer. The next memory shows a demon teacher schooling other monsters on world affairs. One of the students starts whining about the class, and we see the body's old owner was literally being used as a demon's footrest. He recalls that demons were war machines created by the bloodthirsty emperor, but in only 5 years, they built a whole civilization and settled these lands. Armed with all this new info, our hero finally ditches the cave to check out the world. Looking at the horizon, he regrets not being strong enough to fix everything in the past. So, he swears that in this life, he'll get stronger than ever to wipe out all demons. Using the demon's memories, he finds a map that conveniently points to a nearby training ground. This was Round Mountain's training ground number 2, a place crawling with demon recruits. A red instructor bellows at the recruits, saying he ain't repeating the lesson on the soulless continent. As our guy watches the scene, our boy finally gets the picture of the current situation and what's gone down in recent years. After the emperor bit the dust, the demons, led by Shu, kept the war going against the humans. The instructor announces the topic, is talent marks. Then uses a recruit to help clean the map. He explains the marks are natural-born abilities, and every demon gets one. Unlike those pesky humans, to use these skills, both humans and demons have to burn through some internal energy. The strength of this power is shown by symbols, ranging from a measly 1 to 6 marks, with the first being the weakest. The red demon brags he's a 2-mark warrior and flexes his yellow aura. Our hero realizes he's also stuck with just 1 mark now, and that he needs to test out his new abilities. The instructor keeps going, saying the second mark is a huge milestone when it awakens, the user's ultimate move. Just then, the demon mob parts for some big shot to stroll on through. This blondie demon shoves our MC and smugly tells him to scram. Turns out, this is the camp's supposed boy genius, a powerful demon who keeps knight helmets as trophies. He scoffs, saying he doesn't need a footstool, and asks who let this loser in. The instructor tells the genius to can it, announcing the practical training is about to start. He explains that in a real fight, the mark's power and type aren't the only things that matter. He yanks a tarp, revealing a huge monster, saying tactics and adaptation are key. With a crazy grin, the blondie smirks, saying finally something fun is about to go down. The instructor reveals this beast was made by the old emperor, and it's the last of its kind. He calls it a super strong howling demon, adding that the monster only has a single weak spot. Our MC is just watching from the sidelines, looking like he's totally bored by this whole show. He figures there's nothing to gain here and thinks it's about time for him to bounce. He's bummed he can't just wipe out the demons to level up, so he decides to lay low. Just then, the giant beast's eye glows a menacing red as it gets ready to strike. The beast then snaps its chains easily and furiously charges straight at the recruits. The red instructor tries to restrain the monster with the chain, screaming at the creature to stay down. He brags that even with its 3 marks, he's got control of its 1 weak spot. But, shocking the red demon, the monster just flashes a terrifyingly smug grin. The monster then says, "This new generation of demons is just pathetic," which stuns the instructor. It reveals it's been playing dumb for weeks to finish its master's mission. And now, it's gonna wipe them all out. The creature's body starts to crack as dark energy just pours out from inside. In a flash, the monster lunges and completely obliterates the demon instructor in 1 hit. Every other recruit, even the so-called blonde genius, is absolutely losing their minds at this, unleashing a devastating attack at the roots, which wipes out several demons at once. The blonde genius is stunned by the beast's power and tries to bolt so he won't have to use his secret move. While trying to bail, he slams right into our boy, who totally blocks his way. On the ground, the snooty demon starts absolutely screaming why this punk is in his way. But, looking totally chill, our MC just wipes some blood from his armor, ignoring all the drama. In the middle of the mess, the huge beast sees that 1 rookie stayed behind and is staring him down. With a nasty grin, the beast mocks him, asking if he can run while it crushes more demons. Seeing he's totally trapped, Blondie preps to use his secret weapon. Since he's out of options, the beast then fires off a huge, dark attack straight at our protagonist. Giant shadow claws come speeding in, about to obliterate the kid. But instead of bailing, our protagonist takes the attack head-on, his eyes glowing like crazy. The monster's shocked, wondering what's going on and where this weird aura is coming from. It can't figure out why this little punk isn't scared of it, and if he knows its real weakness. But it just shakes off the thought, since its 9 siblings died ages ago and some rookie could never have seen him. With a mighty stomp, our boy gets ready to show this monster what real power looks like. The monster just tells itself that this is impossible and that this is all just a front from the young demon, standing in the destruction. Our hero faces the beast with an insane presence, with a seriously dark glare. He warns that if the monster takes just 1 more step, it's gonna be toast. The beast decides to stop playing games, ready to show this punk who's boss. So, it unleashes some raw power and rushes forward with a crazy strong attack against our boy. But our hero is left standing there without a single scratch. Meanwhile, the blonde dude is totally knocked out behind him. The monster pulls a fast one, taking off at top speed, thinking this fight ain't worth the risk and that it's way better to just bounce. Everyone is floored to see the giant demon just run for it, and our blonde genius is just staring in utter disbelief. Our MC then offers a hand to the demon on the floor to help him get up. The blonde guy just looks up at him, his face a mask of pure confusion, totally clueless about what's going on. He figures our MC is trying to suck up, and brags he's a 2-seal genius, while our boy's a mere servant, rocking a smug look. The cocky genius sneers that he won't fall for our hero's pathetic little ploy. Just then, our boy nonchalantly rips a chunk off the blonde demon's fancy outfit, leaving the dude totally speechless. He then uses the cloth to wipe blood off his hand. Super chill, the blondie absolutely loses it, fuming at his nerve and calling him a dirty peasant. Then, the other recruits roll up, asking how he scared off the howling demon. One of them demands he spill the beans. And our MC explains, he read, "The beast can't spot things that don't move. The demons fall for it hook, line, and sinker." One says the book was by demon slayer Garen, with a crafty smirk. Our guy reveals he was totally lying. Howling demons actually have amazing vision. The blonde demon gets annoyed, accusing the newbie of being arrogant just because he's read a few books. One of his goons asks if the boss is alright, and he just brushes it off, claiming he's just tired. Then the genius orders his 5 followers to track the MC and take him out in the most humiliating way. The 5 demons take the job with evil smirks, all set to go after our hero. They track him to a quiet spot and decide they've stalked him long enough, and it's time to make a move. Just then, the 5 goons appear from the fog, and one declares that nobody will interrupt their little party. The monsters fan out in the fog, boxing our protagonist in, leaving him no way to escape. They mock him, saying his venom is weak and a bite would, at most, just sting a bit. So the demons decide to split up to find him in the thick smoke. All of a sudden, one of the goons yells in pain, screaming that the scoundrel snake got his gut. His body gives in to the venom, and he just blows up into a million tiny pieces. The green mist spreads all over and starts to get to the other monsters too. And just like that, 2 demons cry out in panic, yelling, "There's poison in the smoke," and that their eyes are on fire. Our young hero's silhouette appears in the poisonous smoke as the last demon screams in agony. He says he'll use these 5 nasty goons to test out the uses of his new talent seal. His ancient snake lineage just gave him legit heat vision, and he's bragging how he can now see in the dark. Plus, by juicing up his arms, he can literally spawn snakes to attack his foes. The demons are wondering what happened to their bros, and our MC is loving his new tactical choices. Then, the head demon lets out a super powerful battle cry, getting ready to rumble. And right then, our hero finally steps out from the smoke. The red demon taunts our guy, saying he's nothing without the fog, while his brother threatens him as the monster charges at top speed, ready to land a devastating hit. He readies his blade arm for a massive attack that cuts right through the air. The demon pushes forward, his face a mask of pure rage, ready to finish our boy off for good. And as this is happening, the other demon is impressed by his brother's sheer power. But our main character is staying cool as a cucumber, just analyzing every single one of the enemy's moves. The demon strike is coming in fast, looking like it's impossible to block or dodge. But to everyone's shock, our MC dodges the hit and lands a brutal blow on the demon. The other demon is just completely frozen with terror by what he just witnessed. Realizing he's got zero chance, the monster gives up and begs for his life, saying the blondie made him do it. But our hero doesn't seem the least bit convinced by this pathetic excuse. Desperate, the monster offers to take him to Blondie's secret cave, which is probably full of treasure. Our MC thinks he can use the treasures to evolve, so he decides it's worth a look-see. So, the 2 of them head through a forest, and the demon says they're getting close, getting to a cliff edge. The creature points to a secret cave hidden by the waterfall, but before the monster can even react, our hero snags him from behind, which sends the creature into a panic. Our MC uses him as a meat shield and tosses him right into an arrow trap. With the path now cleared, our boy thanks the monster for EBI, odor, disarming that nasty trap for him. The cave is a deep pit full of arrows, with a small chest waiting at the very end. Meanwhile, back at the mountain fortress, a demon gets ready to make his report. He tells his leader that a howling demon was spooked by a measly little snake servant, the area's boss, a guy called Bone Crusher. Gets the report and is super intrigued by it all. Back in the cave, our guy snags the chest, wondering why it's the only one left behind. Inside the chest, he spots a little pouch, but a voice yells at him to drop the item. Just then, the blonde genius blitzes in with a swift attack, managing to swipe the pouch from our hero's hands. Totally enraged, this arrogant demon shouts at him, questioning how he dared to touch his precious loot. The fuming demon throws a kick right at our hero's face. Our guy just sidesteps the blondie's attack, who then eats dirt. Screaming that his leg somehow got injured from his own kick, the blonde genius is shook, wondering why this guy is so much stronger than before. He knows he can't win a direct fight and has to bail to let his leg heal up. So, he chooses to retreat, jetting off at high speed to escape this losing battle. We see the blondie making a mad dash for it. Back under the waterfall, our guy notes that it was yet another Avon-type demon, alone again in the cave. He looks pensive, thinking about everything that just went down. Just then, a grim memory involving other Avon demons suddenly pops into his head. We get a shot of his feet as he decides he needs to hunt down that blondie. He then bolts at top speed through the tunnel, right after the blonde demon. With pure fury in his eyes, he gets ready to end the demon. He screams. Our hero yells that Avon demons deserve to be completely wiped out. He catches up to the blondie in midair and slams him with a heavy punch. From the impact, the two of them start plummeting at high speed down to the lake. Even in midair, our guy smashes a devastating punch right into the enemy's jaw. The blondie whips out his claws for a vicious strike on the MC, but gets a foot to the chest, sending him flying straight into the water. Our hero then lands on the lake like it's no big deal. The blondie starts taunting him, saying he's so unlucky to be in the Bile Lake. All of a sudden, something starts moving just below the surface, and it's coming closer. Then, a bunch of weird monsters erupt from the lake's depths and surround our hero. These creatures then start grabbing him from all sides, but he doesn't even look slightly concerned. The blondie gloats that these bugs are going to eat him until nothing's left but dust. He spills that this lake is just bile from a powerful demon clan. As he's getting yanked down, he takes a huge bite out of a monster, and with that little taste, our boy starts slurping up its energy to buff his own stats. He unleashes a power wave, blasting the critters off and wrecking the whole area. Blondie is shook by his power level, but plays it cool a second later. He scoffs that even if our hero is tough, he can't possibly squash every last one of these bugs, so our guy just flicks his hand to launch his next move. And a bunch of energy snakes just rocket at the blondie. The energy snakes erupt from the lake, blitzing the high-flying demon at insane speeds. He dodges and shreds the snakes with his wings, mocking their speed. The trash talk continues, saying at this speed, our boy's best job would be shoveling poop. The demon keeps dodging and dicing the never-ending stream of energy snakes, yelling our guy's snakes are way too slow, and at best, they're just good for plowing fields. The blondie warns he'll be slowly ground down to nothing, then calls him a filthy farmer. But then, all the bugs in the lake start clumping up, making a massive, freaky ball. The energy snakes then merge with this bug ball, creating some nightmare fuel. This new monstrosity just rockets into the sky, totally shocking the demon. With a stone-cold game face, our MC preps his finisher to end this. The snake and bug beast then blitzes full speed right at the pretty boy demon. The freaky thing slams head-on into the demon with a lightning-fast hit. He's stunned by the speed, wondering how it suddenly got so freaking fast. And just like that, nothing's left in the lake but totally wrecked bug bits. He says the bugs only got him to the second seal's release, but that's more than enough to handle this bird brain. Asterisk smirks times. He tells the blondie that, in the blink of an eye, he's gonna crack his skull wide open. The demon calls him insane for talking all that trash and whips out a bow for defense. Then our guy closes the distance at a crazy speed, leaving the demon totally stunned. Blondie screams not to underestimate him, charging his arrow with some wicked purple energy. He shouts out that this is Lord Shu's magic arrow, and Destiny saved it just for this moment. Then he lets it fly, firing off a major energy blast right at our boy. Blondie's looking real smug, thinking his last shot is a guaranteed hit. But, plot twist, our MC just casually catches the arrow with one hand. Then, energy snakes start slithering out of him, and our blonde baddie is just staring, totally confused. These snakes then wrap up our guy and the magic arrow in a super weird spectacle. They spin a cocoon around him before splashing back into the water. Then, slowly, our MC's hand breaks the surface, glowing with some strange purple energy. Meanwhile, Blondie is on the shore, totally bewildered, wondering if his kill shot actually worked. All of a sudden, a pink-haired demon girl rushes over, looking super worried, asking if her big bro is alright. She explains she just followed the feather trail. He tells her not to worry, saying he just took care of some small-time crook. He then looks at the pouch in his hand, and right then, the demon girl reveals the treasure is for her eyes, and he'd die to protect it. Meanwhile, in the water, the snake cocoon slurps up the arrow, and Blondie recalls his weapon can't do that. Our hero is super confused and has no idea why his body is changing in this bizarre way. His eye starts glowing as a serpent slithers up to him. Like they're connected. Then a blinding white light engulfs everything. And a figure appears in the glare. His eye totally transforms, rocking an infinity symbol and a brand new power. The symbol turns out to be a snake shaped like a figure 8, signaling a total evolution. Sporting a fresh white-haired look, he finally gets what's happened to his body. His new form completely soaks up the purple arrow's energy. He realizes his big power-up was set off by the arrow, and he dubs himself a greedy serpent. Thanks to his ancient bloodline, he unlocks a crazy strong power of annihilation. This power is called a Serpent's Molt, and it shows off its full destructive might. A purple and white energy blast engulfs our guy's body in a sick transformation. On the shore, the two demons figure he's toast and that the fight is finally done. Blondie wipes some blood from his face and says they can finally chill out. But just then, the sky goes dark and lightning starts to crackle, flipping the whole vibe. A massive downpour suddenly begins, and the two siblings look up, completely baffled. Dark purple lightning bolts tear across the sky, making for one heck of a horror show. The Blondie knows it's Black Thunder, and he's absolutely floored. The lake starts to bubble and glow with a wild purple light. A huge energy explosion erupts right from the bottom of the lake, lighting up the entire scene. The shockwave from the blast nearly topples the two demons as they try to block it. Blondie swears something just leaped out from inside the lightning. So his sister asks what is it and where. She points to the middle of the lake, her face filled with fear. Right in the lake's center, a statue rises with our boy on top, rocking a new form and some new power. The blonde demon is in utter disbelief, totally shook. Our hero is now in full-on berserker mode, with white hair and a seriously intense aura. The siblings watch his new form in terror, bracing for the worst. Our boy announces his epic new form, called Fierce Thunder. He admits he got played before, but from this point on, things are about to change. Blondie ain't taking the L and charges in, totally enraged, screaming at him not to get a big head. He jets at top speed for our hero, but our MC just blasts a purple attack. The beam smacks the demon dead on, sending him spiraling into the lake. He roars, enraged for being bamboozled again by our guy. The blast completely shreds the Blondie's wing, leaving him a sitting duck and unable to fly. The MC says Blondie's power is too weak to even test his new skills. With one final energy blast, he just yeets the demon right into the water. His sister watches, crushed, screaming her brother's name in a panic. She bolts toward the rainy lake, desperate to find her lost brother. The Blondie sinks deep in the water, lamenting, thinking if only he was stronger, things would have turned out different. He knows once he's gone, the MC for sure won't be sparing his little sister. With a furious roar, he unleashes one last energy blast to save his own skin. Our boy just watches the whole thing with a smirk, looking totally unfazed. Blondie unveils his new form, Dove's feather suit, glowing with a yellow aura. His sis is touched to see he's finally unlocked his true authority. Tearing up, she vows she won't let him face this battle all alone. She uses her OP demonic eye to summon a massive shadowy monster. The two siblings shout together, prepping a combined attack. They launch an attack called Falling Sky Arrow at our hero. But our boy gets ready to fight back with all his newly unlocked power. He focuses all his purple energy and fires a devastating beam right at their attack. The two moves collide, making a huge blast of yellow and purple energy. Our hero charges straight through the blast's center, ready to end this fight once and for all. He lands a massive punch on Blondie, who has zero chance to even defend. The force of the punch is so insane that the Blondie gets sent flying. The summoned beast tries to chomp our hero, but he's not about to let that happen. He spins in midair and blasts a purple energy attack at the monster with a viper's bite. He wrecks the beast in one hit. After the big boom, our young man lands on the water. The Blondie sees this as a perfect chance to attack while he's distracted. With a sneaky attack, he uses the bug bodies as cover and moves in. But our hero defends against the strike with a purple energy barrier. Blondie's sister uses her reinforcement stare to power up his attack. The beast she summoned also gets ready to attack with everything. She unleashes a woven cloud storm, a super powerful and nasty attack. Blondie thinks our MC can't possibly block the attack and advances confidently, but our young man lets out a huge energy blast, telling them not to underestimate him. He uses the Abyss Storm, an attack that totally messes with the enemy's senses, and just like that, Blondie falls into the water, defeated, and his sister rushes to help him. He shoves the pouch at her, telling her to run. But she totally refuses to leave him. He desperately gives her the pouch of eyes, begging her to escape. Our young man approaches, and the blondie pleads for the return of the bag with the eyes. In the bag, a bunch of human eyes are revealed, and the blondie just keeps on pleading. Our hero learns his sister must eat fresh human eyes so she won't go blind. The two siblings just hug and beg him, begging for mercy, saying they don't want the eyes. But our MC just turns like, "I have a question for you," and just as the rain lets up, he asks if they're victims, the ones with missing eyes, also begged for mercy. The siblings are totally stunned by this and can't say a word. He just gives them a death stare, demanding a yes or no. No more games. They just give each other this pathetic look. And the sister's excuse, "I forgot." She stares at the ground, totally deadpan, like their victims meant absolutely nothing. Our guy realizes demons haven't changed a bit, despite their new civilization. As he sits by the shore, he figures they just swapped hurting for fun with hurting for cash. Same old story, munching on an apple. He decides they see life as totally cheap and disposable. He notes his new body's biggest perk is the awesome Fierce Thunder form. Turns out this new form is a massive energy hog, though, so he can't just spam it 24/7. A demon grunt calls his boss to the scene, saying the weather ain't to blame for this mess. He points out that the siblings' tuta heads got zapped clean off by a lightning strike. Super fast and super messy. The boss, Bone Crusher, arrives, and she's not happy. An unwanted guest has invaded my turf. At the same time, someone's lurking in the woods, peeping the whole scene from a distance. The boss warns she'll personally check out any weird ends of her new recruits, a farming hoe slung on his back. Our boy strolls through the woods, playing the part of a humble farmer. Bone Crusher spots him and walks over, looking super suspicious. She asks who he is and what his deal is, and he just casually says he's out looking for berries. The boss then recognizes him as that farm slave who scared off the howling demon. She just shoves him away, saying she's got bigger fish to fry at the moment. The demon pins him down with her foot, telling him to find some nice berries for her pie. He hits the dirt right under her foot, looking completely helpless and submissive. She leans in close with a wicked smile and threatens him, but with a serious face. Our guy thinks back to that quick run-in with the commander and her goons. He knows that little skirmish was enough to test her seal's power. So now he's basically a speed-type demon, giving him a sweet edge against power types. He's bummed he couldn't clap the fourth seal demon, Demonus Simonis, cause his skills would have leveled up big time. But the real issue isn't just a type mismatch. It's the huge gap in their raw power levels. Even so, our MC can't shake the urge to hunt her down and end this for good. With a new glint in his eye, he's going on a power hunt, and the revenge tour starts now. Meanwhile, the demon commander hits the books. Looking into this recent string of unalivings, she analyzes the data and finds the marks on the bodies weren't from some lightning attack. As she keeps on digging deeper, she's hunting for a skill called Mountain of Corpses. However, she rules out another theory and seems to be hitting a wall with this whole mystery. From a cliff top, our boy decides he needs a power-up for a sneak attack. And just then, a tiny demon spies two monsters making a sketchy deal near a cart. The smugglers duck for cover, one saying not to sweat it, cause the spot is safe. This little beetle scoots to a lake and seems to get totally chomped by a frog. But surprise, the beetle was our hero's remote-controlled bait all along. He touches the frog and thinks he's found a sweet new XP farming shortcut. With this new intel, he hits up a cave with a massive door and a bouncer. A purple monster stops him, asking to see his entry pass for this black market. Our protagonist steps inside and sees a black market just crawling with all sorts of demons. He moves swiftly through the market, looking like he's on a specific mission. He overhears some demons whining that they can't shop like they used to. A vendor tries to hawk a rare material that'll make weapons 10 times stronger. But our hero claps back that he's never heard of a blacksmith who could actually forge it. Another vendor is hawking some fermented hearts, and a customer gripes that the stuff is illegal. One demon grumbles the commander banned the sale of help 2 years ago. Hearing this, our protagonist smells something fishy and thinks a conspiracy is brewing. Up ahead, a red demon yells he has workers for sale, and the crowd goes wild. The merchant tries to chill the crowd, offering the whole lot at a crazy bargain price. Just then, our boy steps up, saying he'll take every last one of the prisoners. The seller gets annoyed, asking if our dude has any cash, since he looks like a total scrub. Super calm, Our MC whips out the vicious thunder arrow as payment. Leaving the vendor shook, the demon tells his lackeys to haul the prisoners off so they can have a little chat. Just then, one of the blindfolded kids trips up and eats dirt. As he goes down, he drops a tiny pouch he was holding onto for dear life. Desperately, the kid scrambles for the pouch, yelling at them to hold up and wait. A lizard monster whines that he wanted to keep the chunky one to have a little fun with. The vendor asks if he's rushing the sale because he's spooked by that blonde demon commander. With a sneaky little grin, the merchant looks super happy with how this is going. The door clicks shut, leaving the two of them alone in the room to seal the deal. Dark purple energy erupts from the room as the demon screams bloody murder. Energy serpents ambush the vendor, who has zero chance to defend himself. The door is still closed, but now some dark ooze starts seeping out from underneath. Slowly, the door opens, and a bright light blasts through the dark hallway. Our MC then strolls out of the room with a glowing necklace and a look of purpose. Then the door slams shut behind him, showing off the handiwork he left. Inside, we see our guy didn't leave any survivors and took out every last demon. Meanwhile, outside, the lackeys are moving the prisoners to a secure spot. The lizard dude tells the little kids to shut it, but our MC pops up from nowhere, hitting the monster from behind with a finishing move. With this, he jokes he's finally strong enough to at least wrangle a chicken. The little blonde girl is totally horrified by this scene of absolute chaos. The lizard demon's corpse drops to the ground right beside her, splattering his insides everywhere. The terrified girl calls him a demon's demon. He thinks about that passive skill, which thankfully has a low proc rate. Now that the dust has settled, our guy stands before the two saved children. He then gives back the small cloth pouch the little boy had dropped before. The kid thanks him and snags the pouch back, a relieved and happy smile on his face. As he leads the children out of there, the girl offers to carry his rope for him. He just chucks the rope, saying he hates seeing folks tied up and that they're free now. Using his powers, he fixes the men's eyes, and they're super grateful to finally be able to see once more. He then begins healing the little kid, but tells the grown-ups to zip it since they won't stop yapping and thanking him. Totally confused, the girl asks why he saved them, if he's a demon too. And he just says, "'Cause I felt like it." The little girl is totally speechless, stunned by her mysterious hero's super blunt and simple answer. But his eye starts to glow, and tells the little one to hush up, cause he's busy finishing the boy's healing. Our MC then stares at the rescued humans, wondering how he should make his final exit once and for all. And just like that, an awkward silence fills the room, and the little blonde girl is left totally clueless on what to do. Then suddenly, a light bulb pops up over her head, and it seems she's got a great idea to break the ice. So, the girl turns to the group and says she'll tell a joke to lighten things up a little. She starts telling this story about a tavern that was giving a nice discount on the third drink for a festival. With a big smile on her face, she keeps going, saying a guy asked the bartender for a glass of the second drink. At this point, the rescued guys are just giving her blank stares, totally not getting the punchline of her joke. The little girl then puts on her most innocent face, realizing her joke totally bombed with the crowd. But then suddenly, the sound of a quiet laugh echoes in the cave, which surprises everyone there. One of the guys points at our hero, and the little girl is so happy someone actually got her joke. But then, out of nowhere, a dark energy serpent shoots out from our protagonist's feet and lunges forward. The creature wraps itself around the little girl, who screams in pure terror, not getting what's going on. The snake then goes after the other people, who also scream in pain and panic from the ambush. One of the guys just drops to the ground in shock, wailing for their hero, unable to believe he'd double-crossed them like this. Chillin' on a rock, our boy looks down and says they were total suckers for trusting him. The dude says the demon race always hides a toxic heart and that you can never really trust them. A smug smirk. Our MC says this is what you get for trusting him, and they better remember this lesson. After that, all the people he saved just hit the ground, looking totally lifeless from the poison. He then walks up to the little girl, asking why she's fighting off the toxin he just used, crying. But the girl says he never meant to end them. He just wanted to knock everyone out. Our boy goes quiet for a second, a totally serious look on his face. She says he just wanted to teach them a lesson about trusting demons. And he asks what makes her so confident. She then yells that he's actually a good demon, and that's exactly why she trusts him completely. Just then, the little guy wakes up and asks his pal what she wants to do now. With her eyes sparkling, she declares she wants to follow him. But the MC shoots back that he doesn't need any dead weight. So she introduces herself as Sola, a blacksmith, and swears she won't be a bother at all. Our MC recognizes that name and asks if she's the granddaughter of some guy named Alexius. Shocked, Sula confirms it, asking how he knows her grandpa, which leaves our MC totally lost in thought. He explains that they go way back. You know, he even held her in his arms when she was just a baby. And with that, a memory of an old forge flashes in his mind, revealing a bit more of his past. In the flashback, we see Alexius, Sula's grandpa, saying he won't forge swords for anyone who harms their own kind or the innocent. With a stern and suspicious glare, he stares down our hero from back in the day. The smith says our MC stinks of blood, and his talent seal can still sniff it out after all this time. He then tells our boy to get lost. But the MC reveals that a sister Dia was the one who sent him. He then says he wants the steel sword the blacksmith is making, and the old man asks if he's with this sister. Our MC just confirms it with a quick nod. Alexius goes silent for a moment. He puts on his game face, sizing things up. Then, he finally agrees to craft the epic sword, muttering how this'll square a debt he owed the sister. Old man Alexius whips out a tiny statue from the sister, saying it's gonna be the sword's awesome new handguard. Our boy's like, so, Uda, when can I get my sword? And Alexius tells him to cool his jets. It'll take a few days. He adds he's gotta find a scholar to bless his grandkid, who's about to make their grand entrance. Flash forward, and our guy is kneeling in the middle of some freezing wasteland, a bleak, snowy landscape. And in the background, there's a totally wrecked house with a sword just jammed in the dirt. Alexius pops up holding a baby, and our hero walks over, asking, "Where's my sword?" The smith just points to the blade in the snow and is like, "Go grab it yourself." Tough guy. Alexius drops the bomb. The sword's name is Sula, just like his granddaughter's name. Then he gets dead serious. Our hero asks about the little one's parents. Alexius says they were lost when a demon horde invaded and wrecked their village. He goes on, saying the monsters just erased everything and everyone in their path. No mercy. He then asks if the sister died, and if our hero's beloved was also taken by them, looking totally wrecked. Our MC confirms that, yeah, the demon race took every last one of them. The smith hands the baby over, sighing that she never even got a chance to receive her proper blessing. Our guy then looks down at little Sula in his arms, his eyes filled with resolve. He decides to give her his own blessing, wanting her name to travel with him on his path. As demons close in, Alexius asks if he should swap the sword's handguard. He hints that in our hero's current mindset, he won't be needing mercy now. Our protagonist scoffs at mercy while staring down the entire enemy army. He muses that healing wounds is just a self-serving lie for the mercy sect. He gets ready for the big fight, facing down the demon horde, his new sword gripped tight, swearing to strike before the wicked can even lift a finger against the innocent. Wielding his new blade, he dives into the demon horde, fully intending to wipe them all out, all without mercy. Our boy unleashes some powerful, pinpoint strikes, and each flick of his blade leaves a path of devastation. In the blink of an eye, he wipes out a bunch of monsters at once, flexing his insane speed and strength. You can see zero hesitation in his eyes. His only mission is to fight until nothing is left standing. With his face now covered in blood, he vows to stack the bodies of his enemies until they literally form mountains. For him, true mercy is erasing them all so that the innocent will never have to suffer again. But back in the present day, young Sula says her grandpa told stories about him, but then asks why he kinda looks like a demon, and our hero just dodges the question, saying it's a super long story and he just takes really good care of his skin. Then he flips the questions back on her. Sula crosses her arms, declaring she'll only go back to Gramps after she forges the ultimate demon-destroying blade, seeing her fiery resolve. Her reflection flashes in his eye as he's watching her intently. So, he encourages her to keep up the good work, and she gets totally hyped up, asking if he actually believes in her. With a thoughtful look, our MC says that having a real passion is a good thing, and he's even a little jealous of it. After that, he writes a quick note for the humans, saying he's the vampire knight and leaving them some instructions. With that, he leaves the humans knocked out on the grass so they can safely get going when they wake up. When he wakes up, one of the guys finds the note and yells that they were saved by the legendary vampire knight. So, following his instructions, the rescued humans get dressed and begin their long trek toward freedom. The little kid still seems to be in disbelief, asking if everything that just went down was actually real. Meanwhile, our hero gets back to the cave. Says he took care of a few demons. Sula then proudly shows off the little forge she built all by herself, saying it was a total piece of cake to put together. But she complains the best material is in an occupied mine, so she can't really put her true talents to use. Our hero then hands her a rare golden material, leaving her completely speechless. He says he snagged the material earlier, and Sula is super hyped, calling him a master thief. Our boy then asks if she knows how to work with that steel, and Sula flexes, saying she's one of just 3 people on the planet who can. His whole expression darkens when he hears that. The third smith is the reigning demon king of war, Agricola. She says this king is the most OP dude in all of history, and that only 6 weapons made of this stuff exist in the entire world. Lost in thought, he realizes he needs to power level as fast as possible to face this new threat. Sula then asks where he's off to, and our hero says he's going to keep grinding to get stronger. Meanwhile, a demon tells his boss no one survived the black market, which totally sends her into a rage. The boss, chilling in a hot spring, orders the bodies hung in the square as a public warning. The goon asks how they're even supposed to find the culprit, but the boss just tells him to zip it and get back to work stat. She then threatens him, saying that if the farmhand's breakfast is trash tomorrow, they won't live to see another dawn. She sinks into the water, thinking she could really go for some top-tier sugar. Meanwhile, some demons are gossiping about it, and one thinks it's gotta be bandits from other territories. Our boy happens to overhear them, and one of them mentions the boss would spot a high-level demon unless they were disguised. Realizing the monsters are now on high alert, his hand glows with green energy as he plots his next move. Near a group of monsters, he concludes that playing the part of a weakling is a much better way to level up. A couple of demons stumble upon the body of another one of their own, commenting that this has been happening way too much lately. Our boy hears them and thinks that he wasn't the one who offed that guy, so something weird is up. Strolling through the town, he wonders if there's another predator hunting demons around here besides him. With sharp instincts, he suddenly freezes, sensing he's not alone. His eye glows intensely as he focuses his senses to find the mysterious presence. He then scans the deserted village, trying to pinpoint where that weird vibe is coming from. Just then, he peeks down an alley and spots a shady silhouette lurking in the shadows. He thinks it's weird that someone's stalking a lowly slave. You know, and they're definitely not asking for farming lessons. Right then, the mystery person emerges from the darkness, and our boy gets ready to throw down. In a flash, the cloaked dude just lunges, aiming a massive haymaker right at our boy. Our boy dodges clean and instantly throws a punch right back at the foe, but the enemy's got abs of steel, and our hero's hand just shatters on impact. Ouch. He's totally shocked by this dude's insane defense, who looks totally unbothered by that hit. As the baddie gives him the death stare, our boy quickly smashes the wood support, holding a water basin on the roof of a house nearby. The enemy notices the water is about to come crashing right down on him. Seeing his chance, our hero charges in, ready to strike the enemy again. The baddie's shocked he can still fight after getting rocked like that. The baddie scoffs, "I overestimated you," and blocks the hit. Our protag then unleashes some wild purple energy from his hand, getting ready to blast him. Then, this purple energy just erupts, blasting at the shocked baddie. The sheer force of this attack is absolutely insane. It completely vaporizes the ground where the enemy stood. This purple explosion then rips through the entire village, wiping out everything in sight. He's wondering if the enemy survived that blast, so he starts amping up the power in his body. The two have a standoff in the middle of the chaos, both glowing with colorful auras. Suddenly, the enemy's cloak starts to dissolve, looking like it's literally made of water. The whole thing then melts away, splashing on the ground and breaking apart. And then, only some tattered pieces of the cloak are left lying on the village ground. The enemy is a she, and says she won't chase him, because she knows she's not fast enough. The villainess thinks he's dangerous and debates whether to just finish him off, or, if she ever catches him, maybe make him her personal little pet. Meanwhile, our boy reflects that for now, he can only tickle her and needs a new strategy to defeat her permanently. A smokescreen appears. Suddenly, a vision of Sula in danger flashes in his mind, which totally freaks him out. Once his vision clears, he shouts Sula's name. Why didn't she build a chimney? Sula realizes the heat's getting critical and frantically runs to the forge to sort this mess out, with a face slick with sweat and focus. She grabs the hot metal with tongs, giving it everything she's got. Amidst all the smoke, she keeps on working the forge while our hero watches her. Completely locked in, our boy asks if that sweet sword is for him. Sula confirms it. She presents the finished blade, saying she sized it down because he's still a little weak. Back in the present time, Sula is absolutely pumped while forging the new sword for our hero, and she declares it's her masterpiece. Sola tells our guy Jalong would be super proud of how the sword turned out. The new wave pattern blade is finally revealed, glowing with a fierce golden light. He then grabs the new blade and praises the girl's awesome skills, saying she absolutely crushed it with the forging. He asks about the guard, hilt, and pommel, but she admits she doesn't have the right materials for those parts yet. Our hero just wraps a cloth around the blade and says that for right now, this is totally more than enough. Staring at the newly made weapon, he asks if little Sula has thought of a name for it yet. She says since the great sword was named Sula, this one should be called Little Sola in its honor, and he agrees. We then get a glimpse of the finished weapon, complete with a menacing green aura surrounding the entire thing. He says that, as expected of an angsty steel sword, his body is dying to absorb it like some kind of offering, but he holds back his instincts and says it's not the time yet, since he must wait for the sword to be complete before it can evolve. Hearing this, Sola raises her hammer, filled with determination. Vowing to work super hard to finish the weapon, she asks if he can bust out his sword moves, but he says the place isn't high enough for that. The next morning, Sola is fast asleep and drooling, totally exhausted after a long, hard day of work, until a tasty smell fills the air and wakes her, making her mumble that the scent is incredible. With her jaw dropped, Sola just stares at a massive fruit pie sitting on the table. She asks how he learned to make that, and he explains he was taught at the Royal Academy. Then we see him place one last fruit on top, the final touch on his pie, dessert. Our hero takes the pie on its way, and two guards mention grabbing wine for the boss. He then enters a hall where the area commander awaits him, chilling on a sofa. Their eyes lock, and he's all business while the demonist smirks. As he gets closer with the tray, the commander notes the long platter, asking to see what's for dinner. She calls him clever for serving himself up to her on a literal silver platter. The demonist agrees he's a real smarty as she leans in to taste the pie. Just then, she turns and yells to the guards below to bring the wine. Like, now. In this brief distraction, our hero attacks, using his fierce thunder form. The commander's shocked with a new cut on her face. Recognizing that edgy steel sword, he warns her, saying she won't be so lucky with the next hit. As a defense, the chief summons a huge golden shield, the Aegis of Dawn. Our guy thinks, called it. Just as I planned. She's got a defensive talent seal, and he wants to push its limits. The commander says a surprise this big isn't her thing, and gets set for a fight. Our hero scoffs, saying maybe he didn't put enough sugar in the pie for her, and so, he charges with a purple energy blast that brutally smashes into the golden shield. The force of their collision unleashes a huge explosion that wrecks everything around them. The two get locked in a power struggle, their weapons and auras just clashing. The commander smirks confidently as she readies a counter. Using her shield's tip, she fires off a move called the Twilight Strike. The demonist's attack blasts out and clocks our hero right in the face. The blow leaves a tiny cut on his face as he stumbles back. He counters back so hard, the impact itself creates a huge shockwave. The blast throws the demonist across the hall, but she holds fast with her shield. She figures our hero's just attacking recklessly and will gas out pretty soon. Our guy knows his sword is weaker than her shield and needs a new battle plan. A burst of purple energy. He casts a lightning net from the floor as the chief watches. The commander scoffs at his move, calling it a lame trick, and he vaults over the lightning net. He recognizes the protective technique she's using, a skill developed by his old friend Faye. But after this realization, he's furious. She stole his friend's technique and dares to compare herself to him. The demon chief is clueless about his rage, asking why he's so ticked off about it. She then lunges forward once more with her shield's tip, readying a piercing blow. The attack hits our boy dead on, piercing his chest and wounding him pretty badly. Even while injured, he backs away as her weapon morphs into a gigantic spear. The commander just scoffs, saying it's absurd he'd get distracted mid-battle while trying to take her down. Suddenly, green energy snakes appear and coil around the demon's spear, surprising her. She has no idea what's happening and wonders if this is just another one of his cheap tricks. Just then, the brand new steel sword appears, glowing intensely with power. The chief's shocked, saying he has some nerve bringing that to their fight. With a crazy look in his eyes, our protagonist says the warm-up is finally over. He then gets into his stance and declares that the real battle is about to begin. We're told an old legend about a hero who fought a giant serpent to save the 3 moons. The legend says even without his spear, the hero fought bare-handed and sacrificed himself to win. Back to the fight. The commander unleashes her massive golden aura, preparing for one powerful attack. But she realizes too late she's made a fatal error by switching weapons. Our hero takes advantage of the opening she gave by switching from her spear to shield and lunges forward. With a single, swift move, he pierces her with his sword in one clean strike. With a cold look, he seems to have the upper hand in the fight. However, the demoness smirks and grabs the blade in her body, saying, "Finally got you." At that, her arm morphs into a giant gauntlet called the Armed Hand of Thebius. With her new weapon, she preps a devastating punch with immense golden energy. He tries to block the hit, but the gauntlet's sheer force is overwhelming and shoves him back. The punch's impact is so strong it creates a shockwave that absolutely wrecks the floor. Our MC knows he has to dodge this, no matter what, and find a moment to heal. But instead of bailing, he braces himself to catch the giant gauntlet. He snags her punch, and the chief's shocked he's actually going for a joint lock. Our boy then boasts that he's a seasoned fighter and is totally down to grapple on the ground with her. With a flurry of slick moves, he slams her to the ground and puts her in a total lockdown. She gets him pinned, saying his insides must be totally wrecked right now, and that he's one tough cookie. With a smirk, the commander says it'd be a waste to just off him. The demon lady then grinds her boot onto our hero's face with all her might. She then offers him a job on her team, but he just gives her a death stare full of pure hate. He then quickly breaks free with his blade, and the chief gets the message loud and clear. So then, the commander unleashes a devastating gauntlet punch that connects dead on. That massive blow from the giant gauntlet plows forward with crushing force into our hero. The impact creates a mondo explosion that completely vaporizes the entire castle floor. This attack is just so insane. It blasts through the tower's roof and keeps on soaring straight into the sky. The energy blast slams the giant outer skull and shatters it into 1,000 pieces. The brawl leaves a massive hole in the tower, running from top to bottom, showing off the insane damage. She figures if it wasn't for his sword, that punch would have turned him into dust. But with injuries that bad, the demon lady just can't believe he's still kicking. But down in the rubble, our boy busts out a healing art to patch himself up. He lands on a floating rock, ready for round 2. Up in the sky, a purple energy orb forms right above the giant mountain skull. His sword starts glowing as he gets ready to unleash his ultimate technique. The commander knows that move and wonders if it's the sword art's second form. His signature move, Phantom Thunder, slams into the skull with insane force. Livid, the demon chief screams and preps a gauntlet counter. She then clashes with his attack, Fist First, which is blazing with golden light. Their powers collide in a huge blast of energy. The clash is so epic it flashbangs the whole fortress in a blinding light. But once the smoke clears, we see the tower took a massive beating from that hit. In the wrecked hall, our hero struts out from the smoke and rubble. He's back in his base form, looking totally calm despite his tattered clothes. His green eyes are gleaming with pure, unyielding will. Coming out of the smoke, the chief admits that his attack nearly did her in. The demoness then admits that in 2 years, he's the first person to force her to use this technique. She unveils her innate seal, the Immortal Battle Banner, which basically soaks up and fires back any attack it takes. Our hero is shook, wondering about the power of that Immortal Battle Banner the chief creates, creating pink energy claws, and gets ready for the final blow against her rival. The chief then charges with her new gear, telling him to carry that pride with him to the afterlife. The protagonist gets totally confused by her technique, wondering if it's somehow connected to his good friend Faye. The demonist then halts her attack with a totally dumbfounded look on her face, having absolutely no clue what he just said.